I am aggravated. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and welcome back to another Menace Update video. Hello everyone, if you enjoy what I do, including covering phenomenal early access titles such as Menace, even when they maybe are going through a little bit of a rough patch, something we're going to be talking about at length in this video, then a like on this video and a subscription to the channel would be very much appreciated. Thank you so much. As always, there will be some timestamps in the description and in the play bar if you want to jump around to a particular point in the video, but we are going to start off with all of the changes and additions that have been made to the game, because generally they are very positive, even though I do have a big negative we will be talking about. So what does patch number 8 entail, and why is it generally so good? Well, we have new missions, we have new weapon models, we have a new skill for infantry squads, which is something that I in particular have been massively hoping for and requesting. That's going to make these infantry squads just that little bit more useful. And we have the news that Menace has sold over 250,000 copies. That is 250,000, a very strong showing for a fairly niche indie turn-based tactics game that I feel like is very representative of how much good Menace is bringing to the table. As always, if you would like to read these notes for yourself, in case there's something that I skip over because it's relatively minor, I will have the link to it in the description. But what are the major notes? First off, we have 2 new missions. The first one is a new pirate mission, Eliminate Leadership. Quote, "We added a new final mission to the mission pool of the thwart invasion pirate operation called Eliminate Leadership. The ringleaders in charge of the ongoing invasion are meeting on the planet's surface to plan their next assault. This is a good opportunity to wipe out all the leadership in one attack and stop the invasion right there. In this mission, the player has to take out the pirate first mate, the engineer, and the pirate captain. The mission, especially the pirate captain, is pretty juicy, so it will not be available right from the start, but only after 2 operations have been completed. So this is not something you're going to run up on right at the beginning of the game, which is good, because based on the issues that we're going to talk about with the other mission that has been added, things could get pretty dicey, especially if you're playing on higher difficulties or we are still in the early access period, depending on when you're watching this video. As far as this new mission is concerned, we do have a new unit that is part of it, the Pirate Captain, a hero unit that has unique weapons and armor that you can wind up looting off of him if you get lucky. They're upgrades, and we like upgrades. You have the Captain's Jet Suit, which is just a better version of the Pirate Jet Suit, and the Captain's PDW, which is just a better version of the Pirate PDW. So you actually might be able to get more high quality, quote unquote, high quality gear from the pirates that will serve you well into the end game of Menace, which is very cool to see and will make it very exciting when this mission does wind up popping. How hard this mission is going to be, I cannot say, as I have not had the opportunity to explore it yet, because I am hard stuck on another mission, which we are about to talk about. New alien mission, Corrupt Xeno DNA. In order to replace the Hunt Hive Queen final mission, which we moved back into any operation after the first, as it could be frustrating, we have now added a new possible final mission to the alien infestation operation. In this mission, the player is tasked with injecting manipulated DNA into unhatched eggs, which sounds easy enough. Yes, it does. However, the aliens decided that a dense human settlement was the best place to lay their eggs. I'll tell you right now, that's not the problem. That means a whole map full of narrow streets, small alleyways, line-of-sight blockers, and habitats. This is the first actual CQB map where SMGs will start to outshine long-range options like the battle rifles. I wish that was true. It's not. Be prepared for hidden enemies jumping at you from behind cover, hard to navigate streets, and a high risk of friendly fire over short distances. Note that this map uses only existing assets. This is not a new biome. This map sounds really cool. It is the single most interesting aspect of this update for me personally, and I imagine for a lot of you as well, because it evokes the feelings of that really awesome opening cinematic where you have a small squad of dudes infiltrating a factory and navigating very tight gangways and walkways to deal with a group of pirates. Unfortunately, that's not how it plays. and we're going to talk about that at the second half of the video. But for now, you can see here what the actual map looks like, and it is dense. I have played this map a lot. It has a ton of buildings, very, very narrow streets and alleyways and corridors that you have to navigate with your squads, and there are a lot, dare I say, too many enemies on the map that make it very difficult to navigate. However, going on to further updates, we have new desert ruins. The planet Mach has been updated with a slew of new buildings and ruins that are going to give a lot more opportunities for cover, height advantage, line of sight breaking, and the like when you're on that planet, instead of just like sand dunes and open wastes to get shot over. This is something that is going to be added to all maps over time to make the planets more unique, and these remnants can be found on all missions on Mach as the first planet that's received the update. This is absolutely a much needed change, as I cannot even begin to describe the number of missions that I've taken on Mach where I just have big open fields of fire and I'm making use of what little cover there is, such as giant stone spires jutting up out of the earth, to try to break line of sight, keep myself in stealth, get the first strike on the enemy, etc. Now we'll actually be able to approach some of these maps a little bit more tactically and have that sense that there were actually civilizations here at one point, which is always good from a world building standpoint. We also see the fruits of the previous update talking about how new 3D weapon models were being added to the game, as we do have 7 new weapons that have been added to the game in terms of actual models. These are weapons that we had available to us before from a gameplay standpoint, but they didn't actually represent themselves differently when attached to different squads. Now, the KR Bar Mod 2, the KR Bar Mod 1, the KR Bar Mod 3, the CQB K-Pack, the SOF K-Pack, the K-Pack with launcher, and the Range K-Pack all have their own distinct models and paint schemes, so that when you zoom in on your squads and take a little bit of a look at them, you will be able to see exactly what weapons they are wielding, which is a very nice detail touch for a game that does seem to care so much about actually representing what's going on the battlefield accurately. Speaking of being able to represent the battlefield accurately, here's the skill that I've been requesting above all others: new infantry skill, cut wires. Yes, finally, in the far-flung future of a sci-fi military landscape, we've invented bolt cutters that we can give to our squads. No more will you be trying to move through terrain or get to an objective and find that your highly skilled and heavily equipped Marine squad can't circumnavigate a fence that a 14-year-old could climb over. Now, every squad will have the ability for 30 AP to cut fences and to take down a section of fence that's in front of them. Is it the most efficient option? No, but it is definitely, as far as AP is concerned, far more efficient than pathing all the way around a fence to get to wherever it is that you're trying to go. This is a much needed addition to the game. It seems very small, but it's going to have a major impact from mission to mission, and I can only hope that more options like this are added to the kit of infantry to keep them viable and keep them interesting to use from a tactical standpoint as we progress towards the full release of MENACE. Now, alongside this patch, we do have a slew of bug fixes and balancing and the like. However, they're not super important, so I'll leave those to you to read for yourself if you want to check out the patch notes in the description. What we need to talk about now is the Corrupt Xenohatchling DNA mission. And I'm here to tell you right now, this mission sucks. Pardon my French, excuse my hostility, but this mission is garbage. There is no other mission in the game that makes me actively want to stop playing the way that this mission does, and there's a few different reasons for that. First of all, as it was described in the patch notes itself, this is a mission that's meant to evoke a very tense, claustrophobic feeling, where very tight corridors, enemy ambushes, and the potential for friendly fire are going to be the big challenges that you're going to run into, and will encourage you to use more close-range weapons like SMGs, shotguns, and the like, rather than the more standard long-range rifle squads that have been one of the big factors of the meta since the game released in early access. Unfortunately, that's not how it works, and the reason for that is because of the enemies that are present on the map. So the way this map works is you are given a couple of different objectives that you need to get to and essentially sabotage. We've seen things like this before with the alien breeding pools when you're fighting the bugs in different operations. It's not anything new in that regard. What is new is the terrain that's available to you and the way the enemies function around it. You see, this is a mission where enemies will continue to spawn, as far as I've been able to tell, indefinitely, meaning that it is a race against the clock and a battle of attrition to get to the objectives, clear them and then get out before you get completely overrun. On its face, totally fine. The issue is that that's not how the mission actually functions, at least on Expert, which is what I've been playing on as I've been trying to approach it. And I have been stuck on this mission for 3 hours straight. The reality of corrupt xenohatchling DNA is that you are going to be thrown into a situation where your ability to navigate and take cover is extremely limited, and the bugs have absolutely no obvious limits on what they're able to bring to bear against you. That means, at least in the seed that I got, you are going to be absolutely inundated with bug artillery in the form of bombardiers, heavy armor warriors, and blaster bugs. 2 of these enemies don't care how much terrain there is between you and them because they will just shoot you anyway with devastating accuracy, and the warriors are going to clog up the extremely narrow pathways to make sure that you can't get to those high damage ranged enemies and actually do anything about them with any efficiency without holding back and firing away with, you guessed it, rifle squads. At baseline spawn, I encountered no less than 5 bombardiers, whereas I only have the ability to bring 3 fully kitted infantry squads and 1 vehicle. So we're already heavily outnumbered before we even begin to experience any of the other enemies that are available on the map, and I have to base my entire strategy around being able to pick off these high damage enemies whenever possible. This means that I am very slowly creeping forward, trying to find and eliminate bombardiers whenever possible, and then getting swarmed by flyers and warriors because I just can't take the time to focus on them lest half of a squad get wiped out and essentially end the mission. I am not exaggerating when I say that in 3 hours of fighting this mission, I have not once successfully sabotaged any of the objectives on the map, and I have reloaded many times. The mere suggestion that this is an easier map than the Eliminate the Alien Queen map is laughable. I have never once had any issues with that fight, but here I do not have the tools, I do not have the level of gear or promotions or the availability of squaddies and squad leaders to even begin to approach the sheer number of enemies that are thrown at you or navigate the terrain that you're forced to wade into. I truly believe that this mission is an order of magnitude more difficult than anything else present in the game up to this point and needs to be heavily nerfed or redesigned to actually accommodate the style of combat that the devs apparently expect you to approach it with. I would love to have a mission where decking everyone out in shotguns and SMGs and having a quick, close-range vehicle would be advantageous for you. But as it is, more than ever, you need to play extremely cautiously, hang back severely, and eliminate as many high damage, long range, line of sight ignoring enemies as you can before you even dare try to push forward. And while you do, you need to pray that more of said enemies don't spawn on the map borders and immediately begin pushing your shit in so hard that you begin spitting brown. Call it a bad seed, call it not having the right gear. I have never, ever been more frustrated playing Menace than I have been when I was first forced to tackle this mission. And based on the consensus that I've seen online, most people seem to agree. Many have been able to clear it, and only by taking an inordinate amount of time to try and clear the mission. Some of these objectives are just straight up not going to be possible unless you are late into a campaign and have some of the strongest gear available to you to try and tackle it as quickly as possible. It's a real shame because I was extremely excited to see the existence of this mission in the patch notes, but at this point, with the way the game functions and the way its mechanics are designed and the way the mission is set up, it is just not feasible to try and approach in any way that I would personally consider to be fun. Of course, we are in the early access period, and missions like this, or any future missions that have similar issues, can be tweaked, they can be buffed, nerfed, things changed, new mechanics added that then wind up having a knock-on effect of making these missions more approachable. All of that is possible, so it's not like this is going to be something that will completely shatter the ability of people to enjoy the game in the long term, but I do think it's a major issue that needs to be addressed more quickly than many others, because a lot of people will run into it and then just decide, nah, I'm good, this is a difficulty spike that feels insurmountable, I'm gonna go play something else. And frankly, because I love Menace so much and because I do think it has so much potential, I don't want to see that happen any longer than it needs to. So I wanted to bring it up, discuss it, and hopefully gather some feedback and some insight from all of you in the community about what could be done to this mission, what your experiences have been with it, and how it can be changed to make it feel the way it's apparently meant to feel per the words of the devs. That said, though, the rest of this update is super awesome. awesome. I'm so happy to see these new weapon models added. I'm very excited for the new pirate mission and the fact that there's just going to be more missions added in general. New gear and abilities are always good to have. It's a big step forward for the game, and it's very cool to learn that it has sold over 250,000 copies. I do think the future is very bright for Menace, and I will absolutely be continuing to play it and cover it, even if this is a little bit of a rough patch for now. That said, do let me know what your thoughts and opinions are, not only on this update, but on my video as well. What has your experience been with these new missions if you've had the chance to check them out? What would your feedback and recommendations be for ways that things should maybe be changed in the future? And what else would you like to see added to the game in updates like this? I want to hear about all of it in the comments down below. I will certainly be there enjoying the discussion with all of you. And if we're lucky, the devs will be able to get some useful data out of it as well, in order to develop the game into the absolute titan of the genre that I think it can absolutely be. For now, though, I'm going to wrap this one up here. My name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. Thank you all so very much for watching. My apologies for this one being a little bit spicier, but I am quite frustrated and spent a lot of time banging my head against the wall today, so I needed to vent just a little bit. I hope that you all continue to enjoy the channel, and more importantly than anything else, I hope that you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there, everybody. And remember, be good to each other, y'all. Bye now.